What does the perfect American family look like to you? White picket fences, Sunday dinners, vacation photos that belong in magazines. Every neighborhood has that one family everyone admires. The one that makes you wonder if they've somehow mastered life's secret formula. In Maplewood's quiet suburban streets, the Carters were that family. Their two-story colonial home stood as a monument to success. Laura Carter's warm smile greeted neighbors at community functions. Daniel Carter's architectural brilliance paid for luxury vacations and college funds. Their children, 17-year-old Olivia and 15-year-old Ethan, excelled in school, played sports, and never caused trouble. The Carters had it all, or so everyone thought. Have you ever wondered what secrets your neighbors might be hiding? Like this video and subscribe to True Crime Village for more shocking stories of betrayal that unfold behind closed doors. The truth about the Carters reveals how easily we're deceived by appearances. While neighbors envied their harmony and friends celebrated their hospitality, deadly currents flowed beneath their flawless surface. A loneliness grew in Laura's heart, a void that Daniel's career focus left unfilled. That emptiness became the doorway through which temptation entered, bringing with it consequences no one could have foreseen. When police arrived at the Carter residence that November morning, they discovered more than just Daniel Carter's body amid a staged robbery. They uncovered a web of deception so thorough it had fooled an entire community. Most disturbing was how Laura had manipulated her own children into protecting her darkest secret, until that protection evolved into something far more devastating. What you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about family loyalty. How well do you really know the people sleeping under your roof? What invisible breaking points exist in the minds of those who appear most stable? The Carter family tragedy demonstrates how quickly the foundation of trust can collapse when betrayal undermines its structure, and how the masks we wear in public often conceal unimaginable private horrors. The Carters weren't just residents of Maplewood. They were its gold standard. Their colonial-style home, with its manicured lawn and seasonal decorations, appeared on the Neighborhood Association's website as the embodiment of suburban excellence. Each Christmas, families drove by to admire their coordinated light display. Each summer, their backyard barbecues drew guests who left whispering about Laura's hospitality and Daniel's success. Laura Carter, 42, volunteered 20 hours weekly at the community center, organizing food drives and mentoring struggling teens. Her genuine warmth made her approachable, the kind of woman other mothers consulted about parenting struggles. With her honey-blonde hair and fitness-sculpted figure, Laura turned heads without trying. She makes it all look effortless, local mothers often remarked. Daniel Carter, 45, had transformed a small architectural firm into the region's premier design house. His innovative approaches to sustainable luxury homes earned industry awards and wealthy clients. Distinguished with salt and pepper hair and impeccable suits, Daniel embodied professional achievement. Fellow fathers envied his apparent balance of career success and family involvement. Olivia, their 17-year-old daughter, maintained straight as while captaining the debate team. Teachers described her as thoughtful beyond her years. With her father's analytical mind and her mother's social grace, college recruiters already circled with scholarship offers. 15-year-old Ethan showed promise as both a baseball player and saxophonist. Quieter than his sister but equally accomplished, his gentle nature and quick humor made him popular among classmates and their parents alike. Yet within the walls of their showcase home, reality diverged from perception. Daniel's dedication to work had evolved into absence, both physical and emotional. He answered emails during family dinners and missed Ethan's championship game for a client meeting. His conversations with Laura had gradually reduced to logistics and schedules. "We'll discuss it later," became his standard response to Laura's attempts at emotional connection. Later never came. Laura noticed other architects' wives receiving midday calls from their husbands. She watched friends' spouses bring surprise lunches to work. Small gestures that had vanished from her marriage years ago. Each night, she lay beside a stranger absorbed in architectural journals or already asleep, turned away. Her volunteer work, once genuinely fulfilling, transformed into an escape from the echoing emptiness of her marriage. Behind her camera-ready smile, Laura's loneliness deepened. The compliments from community members about her perfect family began to sting rather than flatter. Have you ever felt invisible in your own relationship? The slow fade of connection as someone physically remains while emotionally departing? How far would you go to feel wanted again, to recapture that electricity of being truly seen by another person's eyes? Laura Carter was about to answer that question in ways that would destroy everything she appeared to cherish. January brought new resolutions and a membership to Maplewood Athletic Club. Laura told Daniel it was about fitness goals, but truthfully, she craved escape from the silence at home. On her third visit, while struggling with a resistance machine, a voice offered assistance. You're hyperextending your back. May I show you a safer position? Marcus Reynolds stood before her, early 30s, confident stance, with eyes that focused entirely on her response. As the club's newest personal trainer, his attention to form was professional. The warmth in his smile, however, was not. I've watched you pushing yourself all week, he commented while adjusting her posture. Determination like yours deserves proper technique. That 15-minute correction evolved into coffee at the gym cafe. Laura found herself revealing frustrations she hadn't voiced in years. Her children growing distant, volunteer work losing meaning. Marcus listened with unwavering attention, something Daniel hadn't offered in a decade. Their conversations became scheduled fitness consultations. Laura created elaborate workout calendars on the refrigerator, marking mornings that were actually spent in conversation with Marcus. Weekly sessions expanded to twice weekly, then daily texts. His messages brought color to monotonous afternoons. Saw a woman who looked exactly like you today. Disappointed when I realized it wasn't. Thinking about what you said about feeling unseen. I see you, Laura. The first touch, his hand lingering on her shoulder after a workout, sent electricity through her body. When he tucked hair behind her ear during a private training session, Laura's breath caught. She had forgotten how intoxicating desire could feel. Their first kiss happened in his car, parked behind the abandoned factory outside town. Laura rationalized each escalating step. Emotional connection became physical expression. Hotel rooms booked under cash payments, afternoons volunteering, spent wrapped in sheets at Marcus's apartment. Laura transformed. She purchased new clothes, slightly more fitted, slightly more revealing. Her hair appointment included highlights. She experimented with makeup techniques from YouTube videos. Neighbors noticed her renewed energy, attributing it to her exercise regimen. You look 10 years younger, her friend Margaret commented over coffee. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. The affair rewrote Laura's daily reality. Mornings meant anticipating messages. Afternoons meant inventing errands. Evenings meant performing normalcy through dinner preparations and family conversations, while her mind replayed intimate moments or planned future meetings. She mastered the art of compartmentalization. The Laura who gasped in pleasure in Marcus's arms existed separately from the Laura who helped Olivia with college applications. The woman who whispered desires into Marcus's ear had nothing in common with the mother who cheered at Ethan's baseball games. But what Laura didn't realize was that her carefully constructed house of cards was about to collapse. No matter how meticulously she separated her worlds, they existed on a collision course with consequences she couldn't begin to imagine. Olivia Carter had always been observant. As editor of the school newspaper, she'd developed an eye for details others missed. She noticed her mother's phone constantly flipped face down. She caught the slight smile when Laura checked messages she claimed were just work. Most telling was how her mom now locked herself in the bathroom to text, a new habit that triggered Olivia's suspicions. The discovery came through mundane circumstance. For her journalism project, Olivia needed magazine clippings from her mother's collection. While searching the bedroom drawer where Laura kept fashion magazines, Olivia knocked her mother's unlocked phone onto the carpet. The screen lit up with a notification. Missing you already. Last night was incredible. Can't wait to feel your skin against mine tomorrow. The sender, M. Fitness. Olivia's hands trembled as she scrolled through hundreds of messages, each more explicit than the last. Photos, meeting times, declarations of passion. Her stomach clenched with each revelation, her mind racing to reconcile the stranger with the mother she thought she knew. That evening, Olivia waited until her father retreated to his home office and Ethan disappeared into his video game world. She cornered Laura in the laundry room, phone evidence in hand. "Who is Marcus?" Her voice barely contained her disgust. Laura froze, a shirt half folded in her hands. Does Dad know you're sleeping with someone else?" Laura's composed facade crumbled. She slid down against the washing machine, tears streaming. "Please, Olivia, you don't understand." "What's to understand? You're cheating on Dad." "Your father stopped loving me years ago," Laura whispered, eyes pleading. "He's physically here but emotionally gone. Do you know what that's like? To feel invisible in your own marriage. So divorce him. Don't lie." "It's not that simple." Laura grabbed Olivia's hands. "A divorce would destroy this family. Your college plans, Ethan's stability. Your father would take everything. The house, your future." Laura's tears turned to desperate explanations. She painted Daniel as cold, controlling with finances, dismissive of her needs. She described years of emptiness, of crying herself to sleep while Daniel worked late. She positioned Marcus not as a betrayal but as her salvation from depression. "I found happiness for the first time in years." Laura's voice softened. "Would you take that from me? Would you destroy our family over this?" Confusion clouded Olivia's moral certainty. Her mother's pain seemed genuine. The portrait of her father matched subtle patterns she'd observed but never named. "Just give me time to figure things out," Laura begged. "This stays between us. Promise me." Reluctantly, Olivia agreed. Within weeks, Ethan sensed the tension between his mother and sister. Their whispered conversations stopped when he entered rooms. Their forced normalcy felt hollow. One night, he confronted Olivia in her bedroom. "What's going on with you and Mom?" After swearing him to secrecy, Olivia revealed the truth. Rather than judgment, Ethan's response surprised her, concern for their mother's happiness. When Laura discovered both children knew, she gathered them for a family meeting, minus their father. Through tears and emotional appeals, she secured their silence, positioning herself as the victim of an unfulfilling marriage. The Carter children became unwilling guardians of their mother's secret. If you're finding this story shocking, wait until you hear what happens next. Hit that like button and comment below. Would you keep a parent's affair secret? Daniel Carter prided himself on attention to detail. It made him an exceptional architect. The same precision that detected structural flaws in blueprints now registered discrepancies in his home life. Laura's gym routine had extended from 1 hour to 3. Her phone now accompanied her to the bathroom. New lingerie appeared in her drawer, yet never for him. When he mentioned these observations at dinner, Laura dismissed them with practiced explanations about women's fitness classes and department store sales. The breaking point came when Daniel reviewed their credit card statement. Among the routine charges were unexplained hotel bookings in neighboring towns. Lunches for 2 at restaurants Laura had never mentioned visiting. A gas station receipt from an area 30 miles from any of her usual destinations. Rather than confronting her immediately, Daniel employed the methodical approach that defined his professional success. He installed tracking software on their shared tablet, which synchronized her text messages. He noted her car's mileage each morning and evening. He called the community center during her supposed volunteer shifts, only to discover she hadn't been there in weeks. On a Thursday afternoon, when Laura claimed to be organizing a food drive, Daniel followed her silver SUV to the Lakeside Motel 20 miles outside Maplewood. From his parked car, he watched his wife of 20 years embrace a muscular younger man in the parking lot. Their passionate kiss left no room for innocent interpretation. For 3 hours, Daniel sat immobilized, watching their room door. When they emerged, Laura's familiar laugh, a sound once reserved for family moments, echoed across the parking lot. The man's hand rested possessively on her lower back. Daniel confronted her that night after the children retreated to their rooms. "Who is Marcus Reynolds?" he asked, sliding printed text messages across the kitchen island. Laura's face drained of color. "You went through my private messages? After I followed you to the lakeside motel. Is privacy really your concern right now?" The composed facade Laura had maintained for months shattered. Denial transformed into defense, then counterattack. "What did you expect?" she hissed. "You abandoned me emotionally years ago. I became your household manager, not your wife. So you decided to destroy our family? Betray everything we built. You destroyed it first." Laura's voice elevated. "Controlling every dollar I spend, questioning my every move, isolating me from having my own life." Daniel stared in disbelief. "What are you talking about? You've always had complete freedom." "Freedom without connection is loneliness," Laura countered, tears streaming. "Marcus appreciates me. He listens. He doesn't treat me like an inconvenience." As Daniel threatened divorce, Laura's panic mounted. Her careful separation of worlds collapsed. With divorce would come financial examination, revealing hotel expenses, gifts purchased for Marcus. Her children would learn the full extent of her deception. The comfortable lifestyle Daniel's career provided would vanish. Most terrifying, she would lose Marcus. What successful personal trainer would want a middle-aged divorcee with no income and teenage children? As Daniel laid out his plans to contact attorneys in the morning, Laura's mind raced with increasing desperation. She needed to protect the future she envisioned with Marcus. She needed time. She needed Daniel gone. The morning after Daniel's confrontation, Laura met Marcus at a coffee shop 2 towns away. Her normally perfect appearance had crumbled. Eyes swollen, hair hastily pulled back. She relayed the previous night's confrontation in frantic whispers. "He knows everything. He's filing for divorce tomorrow." Marcus placed his hand over hers. "We knew this might happen. We'll handle it. You don't understand. He'll take everything, the house, custody, my reputation. I'll have nothing." Marcus's expression hardened. "There's another option." His voice lowered. "What if Daniel wasn't around to file those papers?" The suggestion hung between them. Laura's initial shock faded as Marcus outlined a plan. Stage a home invasion gone wrong. Make it appear that Daniel interrupted a burglar. No one would suspect a grieving widow. "I know people who could make this happen," Marcus explained. "But it would be expensive." Laura hesitated only briefly before nodding. "The insurance payout would cover it. Daniel's worth more to me dead than divorced." That evening, Laura gathered Olivia and Ethan in her bedroom while Daniel worked late. She locked the door, checked for listening devices, and lowered her voice to a frightened whisper. "Your father found out about Marcus," she began, tears flowing. "He became violent, threatened to kill me if I tried leaving." Olivia frowned. "Dad? Violent? That doesn't sound—" "You don't know what he's capable of?" Laura interrupted, pulling up her sleeve to reveal bruises, self-inflicted hours earlier. "He said he'd take you both away from me, that I'd never see you again." Ethan's eyes widened. "Dad wouldn't do that. He's always controlled everything. Our money, our schedules," Laura continued. "He's hidden his real nature from you. But now that he's exposed, he's dangerous." Over the next week, Laura fed her children carefully crafted stories. She described fictional phone calls where Daniel threatened her. She played recordings of arguments edited to remove context. She instructed Olivia and Ethan to memorize times she was supposedly home while she established alibis with Marcus. "We're not going to hurt him," she assured them. "Marcus has a friend who's going to scare him enough to leave us alone. Make him think twice about threatening me." Laura's planning extended to meticulous details. She inventoried valuables that would disappear during the staged robbery. She researched police response times in their neighborhood. She studied true crime shows featuring home invasions, noting investigative procedures. The date was set for November 15th, a night when neighbor misses. Patterson would be visiting family, removing their most observant witness. Laura mapped entry points, security camera blind spots, and the precise location of Daniel's late-night workstation. She established rules for Olivia and Ethan. Stay in your rooms with headphones on. If questioned later, you heard nothing unusual. If pressed by police, suggest Daniel had enemies through work. As the appointed evening approached, Laura's demeanor shifted between nervous energy and eerie calm. She cooked Daniel's favorite meal. She engaged in pleasant family conversation at dinner. She kissed her husband's cheek when he mentioned working late in his study. Only her children noticed her checking her watch repeatedly. Only they recognized the hollow emptiness behind her smile. Only they felt the suffocating weight of what was coming as darkness descended on the Carter home. Rain pelted the windows of the Carter home as the grandfather clock in the hallway struck 11. Upstairs, Olivia and Ethan lay in their beds, earbuds delivering music at maximum volume, following their mother's instructions to drown out any sounds. Daniel worked in his study, reviewing blueprints for a new library project, completely unaware of what awaited him. At precisely 11:15 p.m., Marcus arrived at the rear entrance wearing black clothing and latex gloves. Laura had left the basement window unlocked, a detail she would later attribute to forgetfulness. Security cameras had been accidentally unplugged during Laura's cleaning earlier that day. Marcus moved through the darkened kitchen with practice steps. Laura had provided a detailed floor plan, marking creaky floorboards to avoid. He carried a crowbar, not just for the attack, but for creating evidence of forced entry afterward. In the study doorway, Marcus paused. Daniel sat with his back to the entrance, headphones on, completely absorbed in his work. The architect never heard the footsteps approaching. The first blow caught him at the base of his skull. Daniel managed to turn, eyes widening in confusion rather than recognition before the second strike silenced him permanently. Upstairs, Laura paced her bedroom, checking her watch obsessively. When her phone vibrated with a single text, "Done," she exhaled deeply and began the next phase. Together, Marcus and Laura transformed the crime scene. They overturned furniture, emptied drawers onto floors, and shattered the glass display case containing Laura's jewelry collection. Select valuable pieces disappeared into Marcus's backpack, while others were scattered to suggest a rushed search. Laura's wedding ring remained conspicuously on her finger, a detail she believed would deflect suspicion. With Daniel's body positioned to suggest he had interrupted a burglary, Marcus created evidence of escape through a broken window. He left muddy footprints leading away from the house, size 11 boots purchased from a thrift store that would be burned the following day. By 1:30 a.m., Marcus had departed. Laura waited until 5:45 a.m. to discover her husband's body. Her practice paid off as she delivered a performance of hysterical grief that had even Olivia momentarily convinced. She collapsed beside Daniel, screaming loud enough to wake neighbors, her hands deliberately smearing blood on her nightgown. When police arrived, they found Laura being comforted by her children. Between sobs, she described waking early to prepare for a charity breakfast, finding their home ransacked, and then discovering Daniel's body. Olivia and Ethan maintained their rehearsed stories. They'd slept through everything with headphones on, studying late for exams. Detectives noted how Olivia avoided eye contact while describing her evening, how Ethan's hands trembled as he recounted discovering nothing unusual before bed. But grief affects everyone differently, they reasoned. No one suspects children of complicity in their father's murder. The initial police assessment supported Laura's account. Detective Morgan Reynolds documented an apparent home invasion during which the homeowner was killed confronting an intruder. The overturned furniture, broken display cases, and scattered valuables fit the profile of a robbery interrupted. Laura's hysterical grief appeared genuine. The children's statements aligned with their mother's timeline. Yet Detective Reynolds had built her career on questioning convenient narratives. Her first doubt emerged during the second walkthrough of the crime scene. "The glass is wrong," she noted to her partner. The broken fragments from the display cases had fallen on top of already displaced items, suggesting they were broken after the initial ransacking. Professional burglars typically break glass first to access valuables. The forensic team identified additional anomalies. Despite heavy rain that night, the muddy footprints showed no gradual fading. They simply stopped at the property line. The home's disarray, while extensive, had a calculated quality. Valuable electronics remained untouched while less valuable jewelry was taken. Most revealing, no signs of forced entry on initial access points. The basement window lock had been disengaged from inside. This wasn't discovered by chance, Reynolds told her team. This was designed to be found. The investigation intensified when Daniel's phone records revealed a call to his attorney the night before his murder, scheduling an urgent appointment regarding divorce proceedings. This contradicted Laura's statement that their marriage had been stronger than ever. Detectives subpoenaed the Carters' financial records, revealing hotel charges in locations where Laura had no documented reasons to visit. Text message records recovered from cell towers showed frequent communication between Laura and a number registered to Marcus Blackwell. Communication that stopped completely after Daniel's death. Laura maintained composure through 3 separate interviews, her story unwavering. It was Olivia who cracked under pressure. During her second interview, Detective Reynolds noticed the teenager's physical distress whenever questioned about her activities before her father's death. "Olivia," Reynolds said gently, "protecting someone who did something terrible doesn't help them. It only hurts you." The dam broke. Olivia's confession spilled forth in gasping sobs. Her discovery of the affair, her mother's manipulation, the lies about abuse, the staged robbery, the overheard planning with Marcus. She described being torn between loyalty to her mother and horror at what had transpired. "She said it would just scare him," Olivia whispered. "That's what she told us. Just scare him enough to make him stop threatening her." Digital forensics confirmed Olivia's account. Technicians recovered deleted messages between Laura and Marcus discussing payment methods, alibis, and how to ensure Daniel would be alone in his study. Most damning was a message sent from Laura's phone minutes after police departed. It worked. They believe everything. Within hours, Laura and Marcus were arrested. When confronted with the evidence, Marcus quickly offered to testify against Laura in exchange for reduced charges, claiming she had masterminded every aspect of the murder plot. This investigation shows how even the most carefully planned crimes leave evidence. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss our analysis of how detectives crack these cases by focusing on the small details that criminals overlook. The arrests of Laura Carter and Marcus Blackwell made national headlines. News vans lined Maplewood's quiet streets as neighbors watched Laura, handcuffed and expressionless, escorted to a police cruiser. Marcus, arrested at his apartment hours later, immediately began negotiating with prosecutors, offering detailed testimony against Laura in exchange for leniency. The trial began 6 months later with the prosecution presenting overwhelming evidence. Recovered text messages outlining the murder plot, financial records showing Laura's payments to Marcus, forensic inconsistencies at the crime scene, and most powerful, Olivia's testimony. The courtroom fell silent as the teenager described her mother's manipulation and the psychological warfare Laura had waged to secure her children's silence. "She convinced us our father was dangerous," Olivia testified, her voice barely audible. "She made us believe we were protecting her when we were actually helping her kill him." The defense portrayed Laura as a victim of emotional abandonment who never intended murder, only to frighten Daniel. This strategy collapsed when prosecutors played recordings of Laura calmly discussing how to ensure Daniel died quickly and without alerting neighbors. After 4 weeks of testimony and just 6 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with unanimous guilty verdicts. Laura received life imprisonment without possibility of parole for first-degree murder and conspiracy. Marcus, despite his cooperation, was sentenced to 30 years. For Olivia and Ethan, the nightmare continued beyond the verdict. Custody was granted to Daniel's brother and his wife in another state, separating the siblings from their school, friends, and every aspect of their former lives. Both began intensive therapy to address the trauma of parental betrayal and their unwitting role in their father's death. The Maplewood community struggled to reconcile the Laura they thought they knew with the calculating murderer revealed in court. The community center established a scholarship in Daniel's name. Neighborhood support groups formed to help families discuss healthy relationship boundaries with their children. "We trusted her with our own kids," one former friend told reporters. "Now we question everything." If Laura Carter could do this, anyone could be wearing a mask. 10 years after the Carter murder, Olivia completed her psychology degree, specializing in family trauma. Now working with children affected by domestic violence, she channels her painful experience into protecting others. Ethan, initially withdrawn following the tragedy, found purpose through music therapy and teaches at a youth center for troubled teens. Our father's death wasn't just the end of his life, Olivia explained in a rare interview. It was the death of our understanding of family, trust, and security. Rebuilding those foundations takes a lifetime. The Maplewood community transformed its approach to family support. The local school district implemented programs teaching children to recognize manipulation and psychological control. The police department established a family crisis intervention unit, training officers to identify deception in domestic disturbance calls. Mental health professionals who reviewed the case identified warning signs others might recognize. Laura's sudden interest in personal appearance after years of stability, her unexplained absences with elaborate excuses, the increasing secrecy around her phone and communications, her efforts to isolate family members from each other, creating false narratives about her spouse's behavior, recruiting children to keep secrets from another parent, rewriting family history to justify current behavior. Most telling was Laura's methodical effort to position herself as a victim while orchestrating violence, a pattern experts recognize in many family homicides. This tragedy could have been prevented if someone had recognized the warning signs. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the story, and join our True Crime Village community where we learn from these devastating events. Every family has secrets, but understanding where normal privacy ends and dangerous deception begins might save a life.